I was in a bright house. In front of me, there was a dangerous road. The traffic was two-way system uh, with the system which the driving was on the left, like in UK, Australia, or Japan. But it was kind of, I couldn't see very well the vehicles because there were a lot of, it was kind of a small section which was straight, but the rest of the road was really curvy. So I couldn't see the passing vehicles, but it was dangerous, or at least I was perceiving it that way. I had to cross in order to reach a digital printer scanner which was lit, and it was in a sort of the other side of the road in a nice dark green park. I mean, dark green, there were dark green trees, maybe the one which like fir trees or pine trees, which the trees which are forever, you know, green or whatever. So I had to cross to reach this printer to make some copies. I wasn't at that time shown what copies or what I'm going to do, but I need to reach the printer, the machine. When I tried to cross, suddenly the first lane, or the one which was first on the left side of me, suddenly a big truck came from the right and nearly ran over me. I managed to cross the road being in one piece. But then there was another, so after I passed the dangerous road, there was another smaller, less dangerous path. It was just maybe not a road, but still there was some vehicles going through. So I had to cross this one too, which I did. Finally, I reached the so-called device or machine. It was lit with a light coming from itself. I was supposed to do some copies, but suddenly I start hearing voices. I did not turn around, but I was able to hear the voices of my wife and my colleague. This is the same colleague who was in the first real experience with the girls, by the way. So I was hearing them talking, my wife and my colleague, or their voices. I don't know if actually they were talking to each other or I was just hearing their voices. And it was strange as that I was able to hear them because it was a big road with obviously noisy, with the dangerous road with vehicles driving very fast, and the truck nearly ran over me. So it was noisy road, but at the same time I had the ability to hear exactly my colleague and my wife, which were in the housing estate or the house behind the road which I already passed. And my colleague wanted to get married, and he was talking, he was maybe sharing his thoughts, which I was able to hear. He was expressing that wish, and my wife was asking him some questions. Then I received suddenly a call from my uncle in the passing dream. He asked me if I need any help with purchasing music for the wedding of my colleague. That was a little bit funny. I said, no, we were okay. I can manage to get some tracks from the brightly lit machine, which suddenly it has got this possibility as well, just to buy some music tracks, maybe copy it on the CD, I don't know. I wasn't given exactly the information how I'm going to purchase the tracks, but I said, no, I'm okay. And I reached safely the lit device, so I was able to do it myself. So I refused the help, and I think I got managed to get the necessary music. Then I was given this information that I was in some music business, maybe like in this passing dream, I am in some music business, yes. But in that real experience, I was organizing kind of wedding events or something. I was responsible for music. So I managed actually to get the tracks from the device, which I think after I woke up, I think that's actually the mind. But anyway, I might be wrong. So what are your comments, Duane? That was the experience.
Oh, that's great, Nikolay. You're having really cool stuff. So, yeah, thank you for sharing. That's so cool. It's fun to hear that. Yeah, the roads are busy roads, and those are the ideas that people have created. So that's like the mind stream, okay? And so the real you has to go through that. Just like a rocket ship goes out into outer space, it has to go through the meteor fields, etc. It has to get through that to journey on to the other planets, you might say. And so that is the mind stuff. And the bigger trucks are just bigger ideas that are traveling that mind stuff route, you might say. And that's our, mind feed all the time, our thoughts, whatever, etc. And for us to get through that, beyond that, and that's what you're doing, you're crossing the road to the other side. And then as you go further, there's less resistance, you see, because you're traveling, you might say, further to the real side. And so the next road isn't as much, it's not as busy. But the first one is because that's the personal self that you got to get through. And the 3D printer idea, if that's what you're saying, is something that you have access to because it's more creative than just a regular printer, and you can do a lot of things with it. And I would say one of the real guides offered help, but you really wanted to do it yourself and try it yourself, and that's fine. And they're always there if you need assistance. And I've gone through similar things to where I just take everything on. And the boys will come and say, "Do you want us to help you? Let us help you, And so again, and it's like, oh, okay, I just figured I'd just do it myself, and that's great. So, and the wedding part is, it's the old saying, marriages are made in heaven. And that's the idea of the personal self recognizing the real awareness and going back to that experience that you had and you shared when we first met, the giant auditorium. I always see that next to your house because, again, you're the music guy. In other words, you're going to be performing and helping these people wake up, Nikolay. So that's what you're going through, and it shows you're very creative with all this, and through your music, and just by who you are, and hearing the voices, you're very sensitive, so that you're aware of these things, other things going on at the same time, even though the mind is making noise, you're still aware of this. So this is terrific. Yes, thank you for sharing. That's all for you. Thank you.
Thank you. I did have an idea that my uncle was a real guide. After I woke up, I thought so.
Yeah, that's the real relationship we have. So when you're in an experience, many times with your dad and relatives or whatever, many times they're real guides. Yes. And so again, that would be your father's brother. And basically I see that overall Rebazar heads all of this, so that's a brother. And there's an old
Yeah,
yeah.
sorry to interrupt. One little correction. It was actually my mom's brother who is still alive, and in this passing dream, he's a taxi driver. But he was normally the one who never helps our family or anything. It's all opposite. We help him in this passing dream. But yeah, he offered help, and I felt strange. But I was going to accept the help, but I felt I didn't need. I was managing by myself in that
Well,
experience, at least not in this passing dream, unfortunately.
yeah, yeah. So that's one side of ourselves, and so there are many sides of ourselves. And what I look for too, we see those things in the personal self, but I look for the intent and if there's sincerity there. So many times people are doing things that look funny on the outside, but they're doing other things on the real side. So that's where it shows up. And so again, you decide, and however it is, good, bad, or indifferent, whether you know it or not, eventually as you keep going, it's all going to show up. Yeah, it's all going to show up. So it's all good. So whether we know it or not, so you're what I see is you're focused on being creative and sharing and helping others. And see that again, the 3D printer is something that you can use creatively here. And this is the idea. This is where the real guides try to get us to be creative and not just, just do our daily routines, whatever they are, living and breathing here, but actually be more creative to invent ways to help others wake up. That's the whole idea, is that we get to the point where we realize it's it's not about us. If we just forget us and just focus on helping others become more aware, we're part of that. That's how it works. Forgetting yourself. And so that's the view of the isness. In other words, it's not concerned about itself, it's concerned about all that is. You see, in other words, that's the focus, all that is, and trying to wake us up to get to that point, and then we're okay, you see, because in creation, we have to go through this process. It's strange. So it's not about, oh, I don't want more lifetimes, or I want to get to, or this or that, or whatever about creation, or I don't want evil things to touch me, or whatever. It's not about that. It's about just going through the process, okay, and becoming aware, and then voila, one day you're there, and then it's still ongoing. There's no absolute to it. And so again, I see the creativity in your experience here, and you have the ability, and yeah, it's dangerous and scary crossing the road because of what the mind creates. I have to go through it too, but you're doing it, and that's the best part. Thank you. This is where everybody becomes a great writer. So letting people know, take the time to write these things down. And if you can remember briefly, maybe what I've said or whatever as a reference for people, but however they want to do it, but getting them to write and share, because when things are written out, more so than just speaking to people, they better relate. And this is where the books and that come in. People can self-publish for free. Lulu.com is one, Lulu.com. And once you got something together, make a book, make different episodes, make 10 books, whatever. But once people see that in a book, they pay more attention, you see. And what's really cool too is that Kevin is taking the recordings and he's making them into videos. So, and Kevin does this every day, all day, plus his real side experiences. So as we all do this, this is helping the world wake up and better understand. You see, we're doing our part instead of just watching it die, because it's not in good shape. So this helps.